A court transcript that was never meant for public eyes is now being released, partially pulling back the curtain on one of the most closely watched alleged political violence cases in recent years. At the center of it all is an alleged shooting plot involving conservative commentator Charlie Kirk. A case so sensitive that judges initially sealed entire hearings over fears of security risks, public unrest, and potential interference with justice. Now, after months of legal debate, a judge has ruled that portions of those sealed records will be made public, raising serious questions about what the public is allowed to know, what must remain hidden, and why transparency itself has become a legal battleground in this case. Before we break down what the sealed transcript contains, why it was restricted in the first place, and what this release could mean going forward, take a moment to like this video. Share it with others following this case. Subscribe to the channel. And comment below with your opinion on whether court transcripts in cases like this should be public. Also, let us know where you're watching from. The case centers on an alleged plot involving conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, a nationally recognized political figure whose public appearances routinely draw large crowds and heighten security concerns. According to court records, authorities arrested and charged Tyler Robinson in connection with the alleged shooting plot. Prosecutors allege that Robinson posed a credible threat, prompting immediate legal action and the involvement of multiple law enforcement agencies. From the outset, the case attracted intense national attention, not only because of the public profile of the alleged target, but also due to broader concerns about political violence and public safety. As a result, early court proceedings were handled with extraordinary caution. Judges overseeing the case ordered certain hearings to be closed to the public, citing safety risks to court personnel, witnesses, and the accused, as well as concerns that public disclosure could compromise security strategies surrounding future proceedings. These decisions laid the foundation for what would become a central issue in the case: how much information the public has a right to access, and where the courts must draw the line between transparency and protection. At the heart of this latest development is a transcript from a previously closed court hearing, one that was sealed due to the sensitive nature of the discussions that took place behind closed doors. According to the court, the hearing focused primarily on courtroom security arrangements, risk assessments, and procedural safeguards tied to the alleged threat. These were not routine matters, but detailed discussions about how to protect those involved while ensuring the legal process could move forward without disruption. Because of those concerns, the judge initially ordered the transcript and audio from the hearing to remain sealed, restricting access to only the prosecution and the defense. The court argued that full public disclosure at that stage could expose security vulnerabilities or interfere with future proceedings. However, after formal requests from media organizations and legal review, the judge ruled that limited portions of the transcript could be released. Rather than sealing the entire record, the court ordered specific redactions, removing only the information deemed necessary to protect safety interests. In practical terms, this means the majority of the transcript will now be accessible to the public, while narrowly defined sections, primarily those tied to security logistics, will remain confidential. The decision reflects a legal compromise, increasing transparency without fully lifting protections the court believes are still required. In issuing the order to partially release the sealed transcript, the judge emphasized the extraordinary level of public interest surrounding the case, noting that both national and international attention had placed unusual pressure on the court's handling of the proceedings. The court acknowledged that while transparency is a cornerstone of the justice system, it is not absolute. Judges are legally required to balance the public's presumptive right to access court records against legitimate safety concerns for everyone involved in the case, including court staff, attorneys, witnesses, and the accused. According to the ruling, fully sealing the transcript was no longer justified. The judge determined that narrowly tailored redactions were sufficient to protect sensitive information, particularly details that could expose courtroom security measures or create risks if made public. At the same time, the court made clear that releasing most of the transcript serves an important legal purpose, reinforcing public confidence in the judicial process. By allowing access to the non-sensitive portions of the hearing, the court aimed to demonstrate that decisions in the case are being made through established legal standards, not secrecy. The stakes of this decision extend beyond the single case. How courts manage transparency in high-profile criminal proceedings can influence future rulings, shaping how judges nationwide approach the balance between public access and security in cases involving alleged political violence. The partial release of the sealed transcript has significant implications for both the media and the general public following this case. While the court reaffirmed that criminal proceedings are fundamentally between the state and the defendant, it also recognized the media's role in pursuing the public's right to access court records. Under the judge's ruling, journalists and members of the public will be able to review most of the transcript and, once released, listen to the corresponding audio from the closed hearing. This access allows for independent scrutiny of how the court is handling the case, without granting the media formal standing as a party in the proceedings. At the same time, the ruling places clear limits on press involvement. While media organizations must be notified if future motions are filed to close hearings, they will not be permitted to argue against those motions in court. The decision draws a firm line between transparency and courtroom control, ensuring that judicial proceedings are not influenced by external pressure. For the public, this means increased visibility into the legal process, but not unrestricted access. The court's approach signals that transparency will be expanded where possible, yet constrained where safety and fairness could be compromised. In high-profile cases like this one, that boundary shape how information reaches the public hand, how much of the legal process remains deliberately shielded from view. Based on what the court has confirmed, the released portions of the transcript do not introduce new allegations or expand on the underlying charges. Instead, they provide procedural insight into how the court has been managing the case behind the scenes. The transcript reveals detailed discussions centered on logistics, scheduling, and courtroom operations, offering a clearer picture of why certain hearings were handled with heightened caution. These sections underscore how seriously the court has treated security planning in light of the alleged threat, without disclosing sensitive tactics or vulnerabilities. Importantly, the material made public does not weigh in on guilt or innocence. There are no findings of fact regarding the alleged plot itself, nor does the transcript reveal evidence that would alter the legal standing of either side at this stage. What it does show is the extent to which the court has been balancing competing priorities, protecting safety, preserving due process, and maintaining public trust. The release allows observers to better understand the reasoning behind closed hearings, without crossing into areas the judge has determined must remain confidential. In that sense, the transcript changes the level of transparency surrounding the case, but not the substance of the charges or the trajectory of the prosecution itself. Looking ahead, the case continues to move through the legal system with several key milestones on the horizon. The next scheduled hearing is set for January 16th, a preliminary session where prosecutors are expected to begin outlining the core elements of their case against Tyler Robinson. This hearing will provide a structured framework for the charges and allow the defense to respond. But it will remain focused on procedural matters rather than delving into the evidence in full detail. Beyond that, mid-May has been identified as a critical period when the prosecution plans to present more substantive portions of their case. At that stage, additional hearings may reveal further insights into the alleged plot, while still respecting security concerns and redactions determined by the court. Observers, journalists, and the public will be closely watching these upcoming proceedings to see how the court continues to balance transparency with safety. Each ruling and procedural decision not only affects the parties directly involved, but also sets precedents for how similar high-profile cases may be managed in the future. For viewers, staying informed about these hearings is crucial for understanding both the legal trajectory of this specific case and the broader implications for public access in sensitive trials. The partial release of the sealed transcript marks a pivotal moment in the unfolding story of the alleged Charlie Kirk shooting plot. While the information does not change the underlying charges, it offers a rare window into the court's careful management of a high-profile case where safety, fairness, and public interest intersect. As the legal process continues, each hearing and ruling will be closely watched, shaping both the trajectory of this case and the broader discussion about transparency in politically sensitive trials. The balance between public access and security remains delicate, and the decisions made here could influence how similar cases are handled across the country. For viewers following this case, staying informed means understanding not just the charges themselves, but the procedural and ethical considerations that govern the judicial system. I'm Detective B. If you're fascinated by real life, mysteries, and criminal investigations, tap like, subscribe, and share your opinion in the comments. I'd love to know where you're watching from and what you think about today's case. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, in true crime, the line between fact and perception is often thinner than we realize.